I'm Gary Cohen, and I was a Chicago police officer over 20 years, starting in the 1960s. And I'm the subject of the new book, The Other Chicago Mob. This simply is a police story that's never been told. We tell of the brutality, the corruption, the violence, and the heroics of being a Chicago police officer. We're going to take you on location throughout the city. This here's the 23rd District Police Station. This is where I spent a good many years. This is where my day started, where my day ended. It wasn't an alley like this where I got involved in my first gun battle. I might have been on the job for about six or 7 months. The offender ran down this alley and fired 4 or 5 shots, maybe 5 feet away. I pulled out my .357 Magnum. First shot, almost shot myself in the head. The outcome for him wasn't as lucky. Most Chicagoans would come out over here to get away from the heat of the city. So they'd come out here and fish or they'd take their boats out. But we as Chicago police officers saw it as a different lake. The lake could be a deadly mistress. We pulled many people from this body of water. Most of them were dead. This was an area where we had gotten intelligence that a carriage theft ring had stored stolen merchandise from interstate thefts in one of these buildings. And when we planned initially, it was to go off at dusk and we were going to break in onto the warehouse. But as we approached, shots were fired. We don't know where from, either whether it was a cop or whether it was the bad guys. The '68 convention, there were incidents where we used overwhelming force to do this, and later on this was reported as a police riot. The positive thing for me during the convention was that I had met my wife. My wife was a protester, and she was demonstrating in the park, and as I was fighting my way through the crowd, hitting people with my baton, here I saw this beautiful little hippie girl. Here I am leaving the subway station in Grand State. This is where the infamous, legendary CTA decoy units worked. Over many months and many years, this is where we set up our decoy operation, our sting, where armed robbers and robbers would come and attack the decoy and we would make the arrest. A patrol car may hang out outside of a tavern and wait for a disturbance to occur inside and see if the owner would call the police, which was mandatory in those days. If he didn't, you'd walk in with the drunk or the person that was being thrown out of the tavern, and you would tell them you needed to write up a report for a liquor law violation. Of course, the tavern owner was more than eager to take care of the police to do this. And in fact, one evening, our watch commander came into the station and said that he wanted the patrol cars to turn off their lights along a certain boulevard because he was afraid that an airplane might land on the street because it looked like the runway lights for O'Hare Airport. This was the Chicago way, and it worked for many years.